Well, surely things don't we feel things are getting better in that respect? I got the impression that the situation is really getting better all the time for girls in sport.
Can I just make a point though? That actually there's 6 of you chaps sitting up there, and there's only actually one lady that has actually got a stand outside, and all the others are run by gents. So I think if you're going to, you know, say this, then it has to go all the way through, because there are a lot of ladies, I'm sure, that could have also come and spoken about this, and it sort of does alienate the gender. And I'm not a gender person particularly like that, but it did occur to me that that was the case when you were all talking about it.
Yeah. Oh.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Yeah. Thank you, Jane. For I just got the impression you just went for good-looking people, but no, sorry, Mike. You please do not tell that to ex-colleagues at Sport England. Right, we're moving on and swiftly. Paul Donetsky, manager at Kids Get Fit. Does the media have a responsibility to portray celebrities as role models in a new light? Paul Kelly, do you want to have a go at that one? That's a tough one.
That is a really difficult one. I think the media has a huge responsibility in the whole area of the way in which it deals with health and exercise and diet, because I think the print media is still hugely influential in that regard, and I think that sometimes the media confuses, it contradicts, it indulges in the great British pastime of building people up on pedestals and then enjoying knocking them off again. And particularly in areas where, and I don't want to particularly single out the Daily Mail, but why not?
Everybody else has.
The Daily Mail has probably been one of the biggest critics about what we tried to do in school food, and yet its absolute core base was one of the groups we really needed to get to, which was middle class mums who weren't feeding their kids well and giving them bad lunch boxes or whatever, and they've been the biggest critics of what we've been trying to do, and it just constantly unpicks in any area that you're trying to do something constructive and worthwhile. The media comes along and goes, nah, we'll just have a go at that for the sake of having a go at it, with spurious research, ill-informed science, and you know, I don't know what we do about it, but it's plain irresponsible.
Any other panel members wanted to come in on that one? Jonathan?
I was just going to say, with regards to role models, it's interesting what we try and find now, because I've had this debate with sports stars as well recently, almost fell out with one at a bar, about making role models accessible and I suppose in the minds of young people something that's achievable. It's not all about an Olympic gold medal winner, although that's fantastic to put in front of a group of kids. It's about showing someone that might be 4 years older than them, that's in their community, that's performing well in something that they've particularly got a passion about, and it might be something from a completely different walk of life. So, you know, what we find is actually, where are the role models that kids find? Ant and Dec. When you speak to them, why? Because, well, actually, well, as much as you say this, they're both good-looking lads, and you know, the two of them are, you know, they look after themselves, they're successful in what they do, and actually, then maybe kids identify with them more because they see them regularly on the television. So it's about an understanding of actually what role models the kids want to and need to buy into.
Yeah, I think Mike and I had a tarnishing experience, didn't we? We did, Mike, honestly, with the Times, because we were basically, what we were doing is I think we were in Leicester and on the Sport Unlimited programme, and the kids were playing Wii tennis, and we kind of sort of took up on that and said, do you know what? Why don't we take you down to the tennis club? Perfectly good thing, searching in new social media waters, and the Sunday Times picked up on it, and it didn't matter how we told the journalists that no, we're not buying Wii games, we're just trying to capitalise on the interest that the kids are showing. You know, we get exposed on day 2, page 2 of the Sunday Times saying, can't believe Sport England are buying Wii games for kids, this is rubbish, blah, 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 blah. Some right-wing Conservative person then said he was going to ask more parliamentary questions about this Quango and all sorts of stuff. And, you know, that's just a good example that Paul quoted. We're coming unstuck, just trying to be slightly innovative, and they do like to bash us sometimes, and there's an example. But you're over it, Mike, aren't you?
Definitely. I was on the worst bit of that was actually, and there is a Daily Mail twist to it, which is worth sharing. The worst bit of it, they have blogs now on the Times, and the first one which I went on after, you know, having to go and explain myself to the minister over this was, whoever sanctioned the use of we on Sport Unlimited should be strung up. That was my first morning comment, which was really soul-destroying. What was very interesting, on the same day the Times run that story, the Daily Mail run a story, and it was lost on page 42, about how we was a really good way of introducing youngsters who were more overweight and things into fitness. So sometimes they get it right, but they hide it away. So yeah, the media is so important. And I mean, I think the other thing, all of the good of what youngsters are doing through Sport Unlimited, through the other programs you must be doing, we never get to hear those stories. And actually they are, as Jonathan was saying, they're the role models who really can inspire. Some of the best work coming out of the 5-hour offer is actually where you've taken an older youngster, maybe a secondary school, and put them in front of youngsters in a primary school, and they've been the coach, they've been the leader, and they're fantastic role models, and youngsters look up to them. So we really do have to use those as role models as well.
Great. Those are the end of my questions that I had written down that whoever captured at lunchtime. Are there questions that you're burning to ask in the audience? Lady in the brown top who put her hand up really quickly, who spoke this morning. Okay, a few seconds.
Hello, I'd just be interested in the panel's views on the Chief Medical Officer's recommendation to introduce compulsory fitness testing in secondary schools with the aim of increasing activity levels.
Mike, are you listening to that question?
I was. Oh, gosh. I haven't seen that, I'm afraid, so I can't comment in detail. I think when you try and force youngsters to do things, it can be really, it can be really counteractive. When you try and make somebody do something, it's like trying to make them do physical education at school. And I can talk from personal experience. I never turned up and bunked off because I was being told to. So I don't think compulsion is terribly helpful. In terms of the medical side, that's really something I don't think I can comment on.
I think, Gavin spoke about this, didn't he, this morning? And I was thinking, gosh, my memories of oblique tests, early morning, tennis team at university, all that stuff, do anything to get out of it that I possibly could. What would a year 10, stroppy girl or boy make of that? Not a lot. And I've got a friend who's drastically overweight, and his memories of PE at school are finishing last in cross country and doing it again, and so I'm not a big advocate of it, as you can tell. I don't know if, Jonathan, you're burning to get in.
I was just going to say, from, I suppose, a bit of a different angle, it's a really good question and one that we think about very, very carefully on a daily basis. We now have what is a product that I'm particularly proud of that my team have put together called Shock Tactics, which is an all-encompassing, I suppose, activity management system for kids. Now, we test, and we do test kids when they join, and we test kids through the process, but it's used as a means to an end. So they have a starting point, but that's, yes, of course, we can criterion reference that against national standards or whatever it might be, but it allows kids to see, on an individual basis, this is where I'm starting. That's where I'd like to get to, and how do I get along that journey? So actually, we have to have some method of them seeing improvement. But as part of that process, it can be, it can be as simple as, has the notch on your belt decreased? Something as simple as that. It doesn't have to be constantly to the nth degree, analysed by 25 researchers that this is what it must be. It's also for kids themselves to actually feel, I'm making an improvement. So I think it's a fundamental part of the process, but it's definitely not the be-all and end-all. And if you use it in the right way, I think kids do actually buy into it, because that, like anyone, you want to see yourself improve at whatever you're doing in life.